from the start, it's been taking that convention experience and putting it in the game itself. Yeah, no, we didn't see a single penny of any money donated. It all goes straight to special effect, I believe.
How did you get into working for CubedCon anyways? Like, what made you want to work with them?
I think the goal was to just take that Minecon experience and just compress it into a Discord server. Exactly, yeah. So we brought on people to essentially just log on and break as many things as they can so that we can patch it up.
Not saying I'd ever want to, but I could go to TwitchCon, go to a meet and greet, walk up to the person doing the meet and greet and just punch them. If you do have an idea of it, how exactly were people chosen for a panel or for a booth?
If you're the first person to crack the code, you get the first VIP Ultra ticket.
Alright lads, welcome back to MidweekMC, the part of the podcast where I sit down with the amazing co-host AJX and we waffle about things that happen in Minecraft this week, things about Minecraft in general, or just things in general. But today we are talking about something that happened in Minecraft this week, being CubedCon. How are you today, AJX?
I'm good, thank you very much, good sir.
Busy?
How is yourself?
Busy day?
Yes, always busy, always busy. I'm away this weekend and into next week, so it's trying to stay on top of that.
We won't be seeing you next week on the podcast. Might as well get that out of the way now, right?
No, sad time. You granted me some rest.
you're close to failing your probation, and in 7 weeks you've already called in sick twice.
No! Oh God.
But it's fine because I've somehow amazing. I getting not just an amazing co-host, but also amazing guests when I can. And it's not just us today, Ajax. Did you know that? Did you know it's not just us today?
Yes, I did know it was just us.
Crazy, right? We're joined with Nath. Hello, Nath.
Ooh, hello. Thank you for having me.
Let's just pretend we weren't having an amazing conversation before the podcast started. You know, AJX had no clue you were here.
I was convinced until then.
All right, but I convinced you as well. Jeez, that's just how good I am. How are you?
Nice.
Yeah, sorry, I know I just asked, but I kind of talked over to you. How are you today?
Who, me or AJ?
Nath, you.
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm excited. I'm glad to be here.
You mentioned before the podcast that you've been working today.
Yeah, I do 9. Oh god, it's 7, 8, 9. I do 9:30 till 6, like every weekday, and that's on top of like Cubed, on top of my own projects, on top of like doing things like streaming here and there. So it's a lot of work. It's hard to switch off.
Oh, so CubedCon isn't the only thing you do then?
Yeah, no, I do loads of stuff. I have a Discord that I've been running since 2016.
Huh?
I like a bit of like content every now and then. I stream sometimes. I do YouTube videos on the occasion. I'm always doing something.
Do you just stream predominantly Minecraft, or do you stream other games as well?
No, I actually don't play much Minecraft. Like even off stream, I don't play much Minecraft. I do a lot of just chatting streams. I just kind of go live and chat to people because I know a lot of people. My chat's always lighting up. And I just let the stream kind of go where it goes.
Perfect to have you on the podcast today then, so we can just waffle away, right? Have the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I've said it so much today in this voice call. It's only been like 20 minutes. I say waffle a lot, and I don't ever mean it in a bad way. It's just how I speak. So
yeah, no, it's totally fine. It's a London thing.
It's a London thing. Yeah, you'd know because us two are from London. Just only us two though, right? Inside jokes that the viewers have no clue about. Great.
Pay up indeed.
But today, we've brought you on the podcast to talk about CubedCon, which I always feel quite bad bringing a guest on and not really talking to them about themselves, but that's more of an inside MC thing. Today, we are strictly keeping it to CubedCon. I just thought I'd ask that kind of to get an idea of who you are. But before we do get into talking about that, I know we've kind of already spoken about it, but just a little bit more to the point. Would you like to give a little introduction of yourself, who you are, what you do, better than me turning around and being like, yeah, this is Nath from CubedCon?
Yeah, so basically, I'm Nath, I'm 23, I'm in London, and I do a load of social media, community management stuff. I started by doing a Discord server since 2016, that's still going. Then I joined a company out in America who make a game called Tower Unite. I was their community manager for a year.
Oh, cool.
Then I joined Cubed in 2020, and I've been there ever since, and now I just kind of do that. I have a job in real life, and I just do a lot of things at once, and it's a lot.
When did you join Cubed? Sorry, I missed that part.
I joined not right at the end. It was August 2020, I think.
Oh, 2020. Okay,
yeah.
That was before.
Just
Cubed
before Cubed 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, just before. Yeah.
Does Cubed always happen in October?
I think so. I've only attended like 2014, I think, maybe 2015. Then I kind of forgot for a few years, and then I came back in 2020.
Well, since
And all the
2020,
ones that
though.
I've been to have been like at the end of the year, Friday to Sunday.
No, but this time it was in October.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure like last year might have been October, November-ish, but it's always around that time.
What you want to say?
That's
there, AJ?
interesting. Well, I was going to say that's interesting that you kind of followed how popular Minecraft was at the time, with how much you've been involved with Cube.
Yeah, exactly. I was there for the peak, and then I came back for the resurgence.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I like that.
See, I only just found out about Cubed like 2 weeks ago.
How did you find out about it?
Through, I believe it was through Channel 64 SMP, actually.
Ooh, cool. They were
because-
one of the, I think they had one of the halls.
They had a booth, yes, and I think they had a panel, maybe? I'm not sure.
I can't remember. There were a lot of panels over that weekend.
I had Binish on the podcast. Their podcast came out, so we're recording on a Wednesday. Their podcast came out last Friday. And they're in Channel 64 SMP. So I followed Binish on Twitter, and then they must have retweeted up just because I followed them. Channel 64 SMP popped up on my page like, we're attending CubedCon. So I said, okay, I'll look at CubedCon. Saw the tickets for free, and I was like, oh crap, this is actually like really, really cool. So I took time out of my day on the Saturday to attend. I mean, I say took time out of my day. I mean, I'm going to a convention this Sunday, and I'm going to a convention in 2 weeks. Like, it's not really taking time out of my day. I treated it like a real life convention. But you get what I found time to be able to go, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. That is one of the biggest advantages of like Cubed as a whole, and it's one of the reasons why it was made in the first place. It started in 2012 with the name Minecon Server Edition, and the goal was, Minecon is a massive event. The tickets are really expensive, the flights, the hotels are really expensive, and you have to take time off work. Whereas with Cubed, you just log into a Minecon server and you meet everyone. You've got basically the same experience. There's panels, there's booths to go to, there's activities, there's things to do, there's people to meet. So it was from the start. It's been taking that convention experience and then putting it in the game itself.
It's also cross-platform, so both Java and Bedrock get to experience it. It's not just limited to Java Edition. You don't just have to have a Java Edition account. Like Xbox players can log on.
Exactly, and it's also free. It's free to claim a ticket, and you can join. You can walk around, and then if you do decide to go for a VIP ticket, of which there are 3 tiers, the proceeds from that go to a wonderful charity called Special Effects. So it's all for a good cause.
Is it always Special Effects?
Yes, I think it hasn't. I don't think it's been Special Effects from the beginning, but for the last good few years, it's been Special Effects.
Well, I find it interesting that it's in the middle of all the conventions this year. We got TwitchCon coming up, and then you had VidCon the week before. Is that designed to be that way?
I'm not in charge of the actual timing of it, so I can't say. And it's been like that since I joined. So I actually don't know the logic behind why it's set around that time. But my guess is that it is set like that on purpose because people are in that con mood. Yeah. You see people on social media who go to TwitchCon and think, I want to go to a con, and then you see CubeCon. It's like perfect timing. That's my guess, but I can't say for sure if that's on purpose or if that's the reason.
That's fair enough.
That's a good question though.
It's a bit like, so I guess to kind of link to that, for instance, this Sunday I'm going to EGX. It's at DXL in London. It's not hard for me to get there, so I go there. And then not next weekend, but the weekend after, I'm going to Comic-Con on a Saturday. So I'm not, but this isn't in a rude way. And me saying it isn't in a rude way makes it sound that way, but hear me out. Going to CubeCon was essentially like a teaser or like a startup, or what would be the word I'm trying to look for here? It'd be like, it's like to get the hype going. There we go.
It's like a prep for it. Yeah.
Prep. There we go. Like going to that convention is like, so because I'm obviously waiting to go to EGS and waiting to go into Comic-Con, which I'm really excited for. I saw and the only reason I'm not saying I was excited for CubeCon is because honestly I didn't know about it until like a week beforehand. So I can't be excited for something I've only just found out about. But during that week I was excited. Does that make sense?
That makes loads of sense.
So that was essentially kind of the hype build, and CubeCon was so cool. By the way, I just want to get this out there.
Thank you.
Big props to you and the entire team. I was there for the ending. I mean, I didn't really get too much of a chance to listen to the panels. I did listen to the Withering Effect podcast panel because it's a podcast. I'm interested in podcasts, especially Minecraft ones. And CubeCon was actually the reason I found out about that podcast as well. So
that's awesome.
And I'm now friends with the owners on Discord. Wherever anything will come from that, I'm not sure yet. But
that's awesome.
And it's all through CubeCon. I took I mentioned to you before the podcast began. I made I had a Twitter thread. I didn't have loads on it. It had a screenshot of me being at CubeCon, and then a screenshot of me in front of the Channel 64 SMP booth, the Withering Effect booth, and a bear. They had a hashtag cubed bear, and I think I was the only one who tweeted it. I bet it's all in a thread. It was really, really cool. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's like what Cubed is all about. It's about bringing people together, and no matter how far apart people are, people can still come together. They can get screenshots, they can get pictures together, and that's the beauty of it. Like I've seen so many screenshots this weekend on social media, and it just makes me so happy to see it all.
Can I ask, how does that like help the server? Because obviously I saw all of the Insane Orbitzz stuff, and then along with that I saw Carter, who's a friend of ours, completing the parkour. So is it so good for its attention and so on, especially in marketing? You'll know how much just other people looking at stuff can help massively.
Can I quickly just add something before you answer that? Just link into the question here, sorry. For instance, like, I'm not saying it's because of me, but I think it was. Like, I saw, like, someone called The Shiny Dude. I was in a call with someone called Vera. Someone else wasn't in a call with them, but another viewer of mine, Salad the Real. They were, like, all joined, like, CubedCon because of me, as far as I'm aware. And then, like, I think Kalen was on it, in the parkour. And I think Carter joined because of Kalen. A few other people joined because of Kalen. And, like, so, like, kind of to add to, like, to show that it has benefited. Like, it's not loads, but that's still 5 players from 2 stems kind of thing. But, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to add to that before you answered the question.
Yeah, no, I love how many like connections people make through Cubed. I've made loads myself. I've met loads of streamers who have introduced me to their communities and vice versa. And that's one of my favorite things about it. It's how many people come together and how many people make connections. It's such a good platform where people can find the convention, they have a look around the booths, and they find all these content creators, all these servers, all these communities. And as someone who works in social media, works in community management, and grows communities for a living, it's something I'm so like in love with and so passionate about.
Oh yeah, that's
I like
awesome.
Answers, good answer. You're full of good questions today, AJX. Big respect. I guess this is more your field of expertise, anyways. Talking to the head of marketing,
Hell yes, hell yes.
You know what you're talking about.
Yes, I loved Carter's tweet where he just completes the parkour like it's nothing, and I know that I could never.
Yeah, there was a lot of parkour this year. I'm glad to see it because it was a very big theme this year, which is very interesting.
I'm a real. What made me so angry about the parkour is player collision. I was like I was in a voice call, and I was just like, I hate this player collision. It's annoying me. I can't, like, every time I went to do a jump, someone just pushed me off, and I'm like. Is there any chance you guys can turn that off?
I have no idea. I actually don't know like the ins and outs of Minecraft as a game that well. Like I know all the basics, I can play survival and stuff like that, but like the ins and outs of running a server and all the plugins and mods and stuff, I don't really know that well.
You keep going to the marketing.
Yeah, exactly. My expertise is primarily in marketing, community management, knowing product management as well a little bit. That's where I really shine.
And you clearly do a good job of it. I mean, you're here today.
Thank you.
Being on the InsideMC podcast is a big reward.
True.
Like, what was it? What, not reward. A big
achievement.
There we go. Yeah.
That's going straight on my website, straight on the CV, maybe even the Twitter bio.
Oh, honestly, do it. You won't. I just
you watch.
Applied for a job in a CV. I was on the InsideMC podcast.
Yo, we've got to hire this guy.
To be fair, I'm not obviously as pro as you guys are, but I have become a bit decent with marketing. I mean, AJX, you kind of see it. I'm becoming a bit self-taught because the podcast. I'm always looking for ways to kind of promote the podcast constantly. I've become a bit self-taught with. And obviously, once again, nothing on your guys' level. I'm never going to claim that I'm like a pro here, but I am becoming better in my opinion, at least, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about running communities and social media is that there are so many people trying to do the same thing that you can pick up like what works with some people and what doesn't work with some people. So like one thing I've kind of perfected over the past like 10 or so years is looking at someone's online presence and looking at a brand from a marketing perspective, and then mentally taking notes of, okay, what are they doing well? Like, what can we learn from this? That's helped me a lot, and I feel like if anyone else can pull that off, that will help them a lot.
It's also about what they're doing wrong as well. Like I won't say what, and it's not just podcast specific, it's in general, but I've looked at a few things. I'm like, yeah, that just isn't, like, I'm not, once again, not aiming I'm an expert, but I look at it and I'm like, that isn't doing well, like that isn't going to do well kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I like doing, like, I like looking at things and seeing how they work. So, for example, one of the biggest things from, like, a part of my job in the run up to Cubed was to promote the event through special guests. So I'm thinking about, okay, what if a special guest, we have a graphic for when they announce them, we ping them in the tweet, we hope that they share it on their socials so we get to their kind of circle, and then we have a link below that directs them straight to the tickets. So I'm thinking like multiple steps ahead. Like, okay, how do we go from, let's say someone in a content creator's audience is scrolling through their Twitter, they see a tweet from the content creator they like, and they find out about Cube through that. Like, how can we optimize that? How do we make sure that people actually turn up?
That's exactly how I did with Channel 64 SMP. I saw the retweet, I saw that there were tickets in the description. I instantly clicked the site. Instead of going hunting for myself, you provided it for me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all like prepared well in advance. Like, we have a massive Figma file full of all the social graphics. We use like social media scheduling software to, pencil everything in across Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. We'd even like to look at TikTok next year, but we just didn't have the time for it this year. So there's always like things we're trying to iterate on and trying to get better, because at the end of the day, it's a charity event and we're trying to raise as much money as possible. And this year our efforts clearly worked, because we raised over 10k for the first time ever. So we're very happy with that.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. That's such a wonderful thing.
I can't take all the credit, obviously. There's so many people behind the scenes that kind of feed into it. But on behalf of the Cube team, thank you.
Well, yeah, all of you have just done incredible work, and it's got an important cause around it as well. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the outro or like the closing ceremony, but we had everyone in the Minecraft server like lined up on the stage, and there were like 20, 30, 40 people that work behind the scenes. It's crazy how many people actually feed into it.
That's
because we've got like people. No, go ahead.
No, carry on. No, that's so mad. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, we've got people at the top who have manage the event as the whole. We have developers, we have moderators, we have head moderators, we have people in marketing like me. We have like all sorts of people who work behind the scenes, and there's people we collaborate with, like sponsors, people like Rata Studios who make the Knock Squad game show. There are so many like interconnected things that make Cubed happen, and not one person can take the credit for it.
That was what I was like partially touching on earlier. I kind of started talking about it and kind of swayed because I had a question. Was that like I was there when I was talking about being there for the do you know when I mentioned about being there for the Withering Effect podcast? I also like partially said it but didn't finish the sentence. I was also there for the closing ceremony as well.
Nice. I think I did pick that up. That's okay. The opening ceremony was great.
The closing ceremony was like a little bit delayed as well. I think it was like 20 minutes delayed, something like that.
Yeah, we were. So this year we were in a real life office for the first time.
I saw
not the first time, but the first time in a long time. I think over the history of Cube, we've had like an actual real life office like a small handful of times, like maybe 2 or 3. But don't start me on that. And yeah, so we had a lot of extra challenges this year that we had to get around, like setting up PCs, making sure that all the tech works. We had like proper DSLR cameras that we had to like set up and operate. And so we did as best as we could to plan around it. But obviously with the amount of moving parts that Cubed has, we can't hit everything perfectly. And we did our best. And I think we still pulled it off pretty well, considering, the amount of money we raised and the amount of things we got done. But yeah, there were a lot of challenges this year.
Do you know what's a crazy achievement as well, and what I give props for, is the fact that you've reached 10,000 for the first ever time. Yeah, but you've raised more money now than you did during COVID.
Yeah, that's one of the things that like blows us away. I think 2020 for us was a year where we kind of looked at Cubed and we decided to go in a different direction with it. It was the perfect opportunity because obviously with COVID, everyone was inside and people miss that kind of social interaction that you had at cons. And so 2020 was the perfect kind of storm to do the con and to go really big with it. And that was the year I joined, so it was perfect timing, really. And funnily enough, the map for that year was based on the XL, which is where AJX is.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
So we kind of tied that in perfectly, and everything kind of lined up. And I think 2020 donation, like the donation total at the end of 2020 onwards, has just kind of skyrocketed.
It's a convention inside Minecraft. Little play on words.
Sorry, say that again?
It's a podcast inside Minecraft. It's a little play on word.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's so much like going on, man. It's crazy.
I was just going to once again say how huge it is, and like how like the fact it's for such a good cause, and that all you guys are like putting in time and effort. Like I can't imagine, obviously you're on the marketing team, but I can't imagine stuff like even making the server, how long it takes, and
it is
building
ridiculous.
And so on, because all the stuff that I saw was just out of this world.
It's crazy. I can't take much credit for it, but there are so many people on the like the dev team and the management who have poured so many of their personal like free time into this project, and that's another thing I really respect about the team is that none of us are paid a single penny. This is all something we do for free, just because it's for a good cause, and it's for charity, and it's also just fun. Like I love it every single year. It's the highlight of my year.
That was a question I was going to ask as well, like about like profits.
Go ahead.
That isn't just like, I mean, you've already answered already that you don't get paid, which I had a feeling it was all volunteer, but I did want to ask like if like anyone.
Yeah, no, we didn't see a single penny of any money donated. It all goes straight to special effect, I believe. We have like the store, so you get a ticket and it goes through the store, and there's a donation tracker in the official Cube server. There's a channel that logs every kind of donation that goes through. So we're very transparent about that.
Oh yeah, it's that's amazing that you all do so much work, and there's so much that goes into it, from marketing of course, and then the building of it, and then I can't imagine when do you like start as a team to go, okay, what do we properly planning the next one?
Oh, that's such a good question. I can't give a concrete date because it does vary every year.
Yeah, of course.
But I think if I had to guess, I think the ramp up for Q 2023 this year started around like March, April. So it has been like genuine about half a year in the works. And there are so many like little things that we need to consider. Yeah. So like everything from what plugins did we use? Do we have new features? For example, the what's it called? The autograph book was a new feature this year. The hotel rooms was a big new feature this year. All of those took so much like personal free time. And there's also like lots of little things that you never consider. Like the music that you hear on stream. Our founder Tekon said he spent months like perfecting, just finding all the music he could on the music library we use, just so that he gets the vibe just right, and I think he knocked it out of the park.
You all knocked it out of the park. I think when you say about I can't take all the credit, I think just for the sake of it, you can take all the credit for the CubedCon team. Do you know what I mean? Like, not you personally, but whenever like we compliment you or compliment like thing, we are talking to the entirety of the CubedCon team, not just like you specifically.
Yeah,
obviously, unless it's something you specifically done. Whenever whenever you can take credit for something, take credit on a whole for everyone, because our like compliments and everything are directed at you and the entire team. Sorry, so
yeah, that's okay. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Like everything that we do is very collaborative. We're always in voice chats and working together and like working across teams. Like I focus on marketing, but then I speak to someone else who focuses on guests, and I speak to someone else who focuses on like in-game development. I speak to someone else who works on the website. Everyone has their own role, and so it's very collaborative. There's a lot of back and forth, and it wouldn't be Cubed without it.
I do want to ask as well, which I'm surprised we haven't asked yet, AJX, in all honesty, because you've been chatting away, is how did you get into working for CubedCon anyways? Like what made you want to work with them?
Yeah, it's a good question. Basically I left my job in 2020 and I just had a bunch of free time, and I was like, I wonder what Cubed is up to, because I first found Cubed in 2014, back when Minecraft was at its peak. I think a friend told me through Skype or something back in the day. Yeah, back in the day, the fun old days. And I think I just like randomly remembered, oh yeah, Cubed is still a thing, right? So I looked it up and I looked at the website and I saw it was all completely different. And I saw that the next event was like a couple weeks away. So I looked at the website and I checked if like staff applications were open, and I told them about my experience working with Power Unite. I told them about my experience running a Discord for, at that time it would have been 4 years. So yeah, I guess they liked what they saw and I ended up on the start team. I think I started out just doing social media. This year especially, I've started kind of branching out and just doing anything I can. Like all the graphics you saw on stream for the intermission, I designed those. I didn't actually make them function. That was someone else, but I designed those. I also did some obviously on-stream stuff. Like I sat down with George and Callum and did some stream segments. What else did I do? I made the trailer for this year. I threw the trailer together in about 2 days. What else did I do? Loads of stuff. I helped out with the Knox Squad game show. I was Blue Hat Bot. There are a lot of things that I helped out with. So I sound like I'm trying to flex or something, but it's just the point I'm making is that like there are lots of different things. There are lots of different things that need doing at Cube. There are so many like moving parts, and this year I tried to help out with as many as I could. In fact, today I've been working on the YouTube channel. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you carry on.
Even now, like I'm still working on the YouTube channel, even though it's Wednesday today, like after Cubed.
I mean, it's still open though, right? Cubed is still open.
Yeah, it's still open till Sunday. But I'm still like working behind the scenes on stuff like graphics. I'm currently working on like exporting every single segment, and of which there are a lot. And making a thumbnail for them, changing the thumbnail slightly so it looks a bit varied, and putting it all on YouTube. It's a very long and lengthy process, but it's one of many cubes.
I just wanted to touch back on like the whole flex thing. I mean, it's literally your podcast, and it's what I say to everyone. I have brought you on to talk about you. If that's like partial flexing, it'd be boring if you didn't do that. Do you get like, you know, like if you didn't talk about everything you've done, if you didn't talk, like, what's the point of you being on the podcast if you're not going to talk about you or what you've done, etc. You know, I mean, if that was the case, me and AJX would just record about CubedCon ourselves. We just talk about our experience at CubedCon. You know, there's a reason we've brought you on, and it's for you to, in quotation marks, do the flexing. So
also, you're awesome. That's what I
Thank you.
You're very cool.
You deserve it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's. I just feel bad that like I feel like I'm taking credit even though I'm not, because there are so many people who work on different bits.
The entirety of CubedCon though, like you are, like right now you're taking, because we can't bring everyone on CubedCon on, right? We can't bring all 30 of you or 40 of you or however many to sit on the podcast right now. It'd be chaotic. You're here right now to take credit and to talk about the entirety of CubedCon, and I'm sure the entire team knows that right now you're speaking on the behalf of everybody rather than just yourself. You're talking about your individual achievements, but that's because it's you on the podcast. Like you're allowed to do that because we brought you on as a guest. It's the same way if we brought. I mean, like, okay. So obviously, as you're aware, I originally messaged Paul about coming on. Which they then directed me towards you. But like, you know, same way if we brought Paul on or if we brought someone else on, they'd talk about what they've done individually, but then talk about the team as well. It's what you're allowed to, you know, so we know what you've done on CubedCon.
Yeah, I'll try and keep that in mind.
So I am curious though as well, like how comes you agreed to come on? Is that part of the whole marketing thing? Like, it's not a bad thing if it is, but like, is that part of the whole marketing, or where'd that come from?
I think it's just interesting to talk about. There isn't really much to market anymore because the event's basically over. Like, donations are still open, but the big drive to, you know, come to the convention, here's the IP, come to our panels, come to our events, that's all over until this time next year. I think it's just interesting because as I've said already, there's so much going on at Cube, especially behind the scenes, that people just don't see. And so I think this is a great opportunity to kind of let people know like what goes on behind the scenes, how it all comes together.
Yeah, exactly. And then like on that, you also get to talk about what you've done behind the scenes and kind of credit yourself, because you deserve it as well as the rest of the team. You all deserve the credit you get, you know?
Thank you. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I have a question that you might not know the answer to.
Go for it.
I'll ask anyways in case they've told you. Do you have any clue why CubedCon originated in the first place?
Yeah, so Cube started off as Minecon Server Edition, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And I think the goal was to just take that Minecon experience and just compress it into a Discord server. Don't cite me on this, but I've heard that the first ever like official Minecon was literally just a big Minecraft server. And so I think we wanted to do that same kind of thing, but every year instead of just a once-off event. And luckily enough, we were visited by like some big names back in the day. Like I think the very first Minecon Server Edition, which is what the previous version of Cube was.
When did it change names again? Sorry,
I think it was 2015, but I'm not 100% sure.
Of course.
There's a page on the website where you can see all the history and all the lore. But the first ever like Minecon Server Edition in 2012 in the Littlewoods somehow came across and joined the server and made a video on it. Okay. And that's kind of part of how we ended up kind of gaining steam and, you know, getting more and more people in.
That's cool. Is he the biggest person that's been on CubedCon?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I think you've had Noxai and Avondale on the Nox Squad game show.
Yeah, we've had a few people. I think back in the day, like 2014-15, we had people like Ant Venom and Beijing Canadian, or maybe like those kind of people, like Team Crafted kind of people. But I don't know if I was there for that, so I can't say for sure if those are the actual names. But if you look at the CubedCon YouTube channel and sort by oldest, you can see like there are videos where we announce the guests, and they are some pretty big names. Like Bebop Vox was another one.
Jeez. Ever had Stampy Longnose?
Yeah, we haven't had Stampy Longnose, but maybe next year.
I mean, maybe even InsideMC as well.
Yeah,
the biggest guest of them all, right? Us two.
Yeah, only upwards from here.
Only up.
I get told all the time that I sound like Stampy, so it's like
I've actually seen many of his videos.
It's just ironic that Orbitzz brings up that and then says about us being on it.
Oh, bro, I forgot to mention this before, AJX, it's off topic. I actually heard at work today, I heard someone who like sounded exactly like you, and I've never turned my head quicker.
Really?
Like, I knew it wasn't you. I knew it wasn't you, AJX. It just sounded exactly like you. So
One day it will be me.
Is that a threat?
Yeah.
Right? It sounds like someday be at my job. Oh god.
Kind of.
Alright, let's get into talking a bit more about this CubedCon specifically then, rather than like the whole history and how it all works, etc. So I did a bit of research on the site beforehand, just so I could have like, they're not any specific questions, it's more just base questions and for like you to build on, etc. So I saw like one thing, and it was about like a donation or like a sponsorship for getting the convention named after yourself or something like that. Like the logo at the front would be named after yourself. I believed it was called CubedCon. Did no one take that up, or am I just remembering wrong?
So the way it works, I don't think we went ahead with it this year, but we definitely did in previous years. Is that instead of changing the name of the whole event, you get to change the name of the actual convention center. And I think the outdoor stage was another one. So if you want, you could call it, the Nath stage or something like that, or you could call it the AJX stage or the Orbitzz stage or something like that. Instead of renaming the entire convention, it's more you name a stage or you name a part of the map.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought I saw like the convention center that you could donate a certain amount to get like the actual convention center where you walk into.
It might be like the actual like center itself. You know how like for example the EGX this year is at the XL center. It'd be a bit like that, I think, where you get to name the XL after yourself or whatever you want to do, rather than Cube itself.
I
don't know if we went ahead with it this year due to time constraints, but I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't really involved with that.
I just know that if Orbitzz wins the lottery, it's going to be called the Orbitzz Center every single time.
No, it'd be called InsideMC. Why would I call it Orbitzz? I'd call it InsideMC.
Oh, Orbitzz sounds cool. That's why. That's the reason.
I'd call it the InsideMC Center. Same way I said it to the guest last week. I said like if I ever win the lottery, it was the owner of MCSR Rank. I was like, if I ever win the lottery, best believe like I'm promoting InsideMC only.
Yeah, that's it. That would be a good return on investment if you get people to like, you're like, oh my god, I'm at the InsideMC Convention Center today,
and it's all for charity.
That'd be good. Yeah, and it's all for charity, exactly.
So it's a win no matter what.
Exactly.
Is there any reason why you guys go specifically with that charity?
I don't know why it was picked specifically.
Okay.
I don't know if it was picked specifically. I wasn't around when it was chosen, but I think we just really love the work they do, and I feel like it's relevant. For context, Special Effect is the charity that we fundraise for primarily, and they specialize in making games more accessible to people who can't use their hands or feet normally like most of us can, I believe. And so in one of their videos that they've done that we run as ads, I think, one of the things they do is they have a game of Minecraft, except they have an eye tracker sensor thing. That's and cool. You can look at a certain part of the screen and that'll like make you step forward, or that make you punch a tree, or make you hit a button or something. And so I felt like that was chosen because it was relevant and it's something we can all we can all appreciate.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions, AJX?
Well, I just think the fact that it's again all for charity is mind blowing, because there's as you said, there's so many of you, and all the hard work you've especially done this year. How did it feel? The sense of accomplishment this year, because you raised so much and it was such a success. How does that feel, and taking it on to the next one?
I mean, for me personally, I'm really happy with how it came out. I think the production went really well. We're already looking at internally, like what was good, what can we do again, and what needs work. We're already like looking at what can we fix and make next year even better. But in terms of like how accomplished I feel, I'm quite a big stats guy, obviously, as someone who works in marketing. So I've already looked at the socials, and last year we hit 103,000 tweet impressions, which is good. That's a big number. But I feel like we could have done better. So this year we did 160,000. So I'm very happy with that. And that was kind of the moment I was like, wow, okay, damn. We did pretty decent this year. That's the 55% increase. The amount of followers we got in the 28 days running up to Cubed was 181, which is an increase of 6.4%. So still that's going massive. Up. And obviously the biggest number of all is how much we raised. Last year we raised, I think, $7,104. And this year, we're not even finished counting yet, but it's well over $10,000. So we're super, super happy with that. And I think the biggest feeling that the team is feeling right now is like, we put so much more effort this year traveling to an office, setting up PCs, building a set from scratch, and all of that paid off because we raised so much more money than last year. And we're all very happy with how the production came through. Even if there were, bit rough bits around the edges, like the server crashing or bits of the stream being late, we're still really, really happy with how it came out.
It can be a little bit messy, but still, well, not messy. Like, it can have problems but still be amazing. Like, nothing's perfect.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's just the nature of it, because you go from having a Minecraft server where you've got about 5 people on max and you're testing with like a couple people, and then you open the floodgates and like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people connect to the server at once, and then you've got to work out, okay, how are we doing in terms of RAM? Are there any features that are breaking? Are people escaping the map somehow? Like, there are so many things that can go wrong that we just don't catch. And I'm very happy with how that turned out this year, because this year we started I say hiring. We brought on a what's the word? A testing team.
Testers.
There's a word for it I'm not thinking.
Just testers. I think that's what it's called.
Like a QA tester, yeah.
So we brought people on. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So we brought on people to essentially just log on and break as many things as they can so that we can patch it up. And that, I think that worked very well in our favor. We were kind of ahead of a lot of the issues this year, whereas in previous events we've not had QA at all. So when everyone comes on, things are already broken and we just don't know about them yet. And so we have the entire weekend where we're just focusing so hard on fixing all these big issues. So that's one thing we're very happy with.
In links to like stats, etc., and it's completely fine if you don't want to share this. And it's also like it's also a Twitter question from Toxable, so I will give them credit for this. Theirs is, what was the peak player count / total player count? I also want to add to that, what was the average player count?
That's a good question.
So average, peak, and total.
So I'm not going to give the an exact number for the amount of unique players, but we do have those numbers. Reason being is because we're really happy with them, and I don't think it's a good metric to judge by. There's so many factors at play, and part of our job is to make sure that people log on, they walk around, and they experience everything that they can, so that all of the things that we work on, whether it's the hotels, the features, the autographs, the booths, the panels, all of that, we want people to stay on the server instead of logging on and then immediately leaving. And so we've had on our stream overlay, we've had live updating statistics that show how many people are online at any given moment. And we were expecting, maybe 100, maybe 200. And the peak that we had, which was on the Friday night, right as we launched, was 262. That was the peak that we had all at once. And we're very happy with that, considering that it's a worldwide event. And so the amount of people playing is going to fluctuate a lot as different time zones come out.
Yeah, cool.
For example, 7 p.m., that's 7 p.m. in our time. Whereas in America, especially if you're on the West Coast, which is the best possible scenario here, that's only 2 p.m.? So people are still at school, people are still at work. It's not anywhere close to peak time out in America. So those numbers are always going to fluctuate. It's just the same way if you look for any popular game on Steam, you'll see the average player count every day. It goes all the way up for the EU peak time, and then it dips a bit, and then it goes up again for the US peak time, and then it goes down again. So overall, the concurrent player count is a number we definitely keep in mind, but it's not something we base any judgments on. So peak player count is, of course, it's totally fine. We had the exact player count live on the stream as well. We had a dashboard where on our intermission screen you can see the amount of booths people have visited, the amount of diamonds given to our hotels, and we had the amount of players online on that as well. So 262 was the peak. But in terms of unique players, which is people that logged on, walked around, then logged off again, everyone who logged in, that's in the thousands, and we're super happy with that, considering it's a free event and it was free to claim a ticket and it was still behind that ticket barrier. We're really happy with the numbers this year.
And especially I think because Minecraft is sort of waning as well, that is such a massive number. As well as this weekend, there's a lot of things occurring as well.
Exactly.
That could have, taken away from it. That to still have such a huge number and then to get such a huge donation goal, which is the main thing.
Exactly.
Is really wonderful.
Thank you. And another thing we've been looking at is how many players log in for the first time and how many people come back after each day. Because again, we want to make sure that people don't just log on and then immediately leave. We want to make sure that people log on and they see other people, they socialize, they meet other people. And from our numbers, it looks like that's exactly what happened, because we're looking at hundreds of people who have returned each day instead of just logging on the Friday when everything opens and then just never coming back. So that tells us okay, people are enjoying the features enough to open the game again, log in again, and walk around and see that there's things to do. So again, that's another thing we're so happy with.
I mean, so how mine worked was, weren't there on the Friday because I was busy Friday night. Like, a lot of my time goes towards editing the podcast. Somehow, I have everything edited for the podcast, everything absolutely done up until this recording, which is great. I'm never like this. I'm always like spreading out over days. But so like I said, in not taking time out of my day, but I stopped editing and stuff like that so I could go to CubedCon. My girlfriend was working, so I went with one of my mods, Small Chloe. She was actually in the background of the Channel 64 SMP picture. I don't think anyone actually noticed.
Oh, wow.
Which was funny.
Nice.
But so we ended up going just because she was free. And then where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I went on a Saturday. I walked around, made sure to visit every single booth so I could get XP for I believe I was on Blue Team, so big up Blue Team. And we went around, we went to all of them, we went to like visit the panels. I spent about an hour on the boat race game trying to get a PB. I think my fastest time was like 55 seconds in the end, which I mean, I'll take. That was solid. And then I didn't go back after that because like it's like same with conventions, same with EJX on Sunday and Comic-Con. I only go for one day because in my own opinion, and this is for absolutely every convention, because I only went to TwitchCon for one day. TwitchCon might be different if it's in a different country, it'll be different. But like events that I can go to just for one day, I don't see the point of going back for a second day because nothing changes. Obviously, there was more panels on and stuff like that. But I mean, I watched the Nox team, or not Nox team, Nox Squad. Sorry, I watched their like game mode through the CubedCon Twitch. I also watched It's Equals Piggles POV, so I had both up on the same time. I was there for the Withering podcast, but I watched that on their YouTube channel and the CubedCon Twitch. So like I had it up supporting, but I wasn't at the convention physically myself. But on the Sunday, I was still there, kind of thing, you know? Bit in the background.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. Again, like you don't have to travel, you don't have to book tickets. You can literally hop on and hop off anytime you want, and it's always going.
I don't have to be there to still experience it. I was busy on Sunday editing, but I could still have it up on my second monitor and listen to it. Exactly. That's the beauty of it. And not many conventions. I don't think really any conventions do that, to be honest. You know, I mean, Minecraft Live technically, but like TwitchCon, you don't really have streams of the panels. You have to be there to experience the panel. Yeah, which is crazy to think about because it's Twitch. You think they stream it, right? I mean, I guess it's also just like exclusive to Twitch, whereas CubedCon can be a bit more open with it, I guess, because it's also like it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense, but yeah, it is weird if you ask me. I mean, you guys were averaging over 100 viewers on Twitch as well, which is crazy. Like at every single point I was in the stream, it was always over 100. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing like we're looking at in terms of numbers. We're super happy with like all the numbers we've had back, and Twitch is another one of them. Like I hosted the pub quiz on Friday night. I think it started at like midnight, and even then, like there were loads of people that were in chat that were like playing along. I think there were about 50, maybe even 60 people that were playing along in this like a live interactive quiz that I just set up. That was something I was really happy about. Just seeing like people like chat light up whenever I ask a question, I just see the chat move real quick. It's a great feeling. Do you have anything to add, AJX? Or
I was going to say I love pub quizzes in events, like in conventions. So the fact you actually had one as well.
Did you play?
No, unfortunately not. But that would have been.
Oh, it's okay.
I just love when in actual conventions there's pub quizzes. So that would have been amazing.
Yeah, I love me some trivia. If you do want to relive the trivia, it's all on YouTube. If you just type in search Cube Convention, it'll all come up. By the time this podcast goes out, hopefully I'll have all the VODs on YouTube just all preserved, so you can go back and kind of relive, all the panels, all the events, all the streams. And the pub quiz is already out, so if you want to go watch that and just experience what it was like, go ahead. But I'll summarize it. Basically, it was me and another one of the staff members, Charlie. Right? Yeah. We were just sat on a sofa in the Cubed studio. I had a little Chromebook in front of me, and I was just pushing the next question button every now and then. And there was like an overlay you could click on that, like you could click on the stream itself, and that's how you played along and like answered the question. And people got really like interactive with it. People seem to look forward to it year after year. Like we did it last year, and I got like glowing feedback from it. So I'm glad people came back this year and really enjoyed it. Did winners get anything? Check that out. Yes, the winner got I think it was VIP Ultra, and then the top 3, I think it might be top 5. I think it was top 3. All got hotel rooms of some sort, I believe.
Hey.
Yeah. Hotel rooms were a big new feature this year as well.
The hotel seems really, really cool. I didn't get to experience it, but it did look really, really sick.
It makes
Yeah,
sense
even I
as
didn't
well.
get to experience most of the con, to be honest. I was so busy running around the office doing lots of bits on stream, whether it's like hosting a panel at the actual PC or like running the production side in the background. Happening at the Knoxville Game Show pretty much took out my entire Sunday afternoon. There was a lot going on, and I actually didn't get much time to run around the convention and play the game.
I mean,
Yeah, I can imagine. You were super busy doing other things, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's okay though. I'm glad I did it because I feel like I like to help out with things.
Yes, yeah, that's and well, I'm going to go back and watch that and see if I would have won a hotel room.
Thank you.
I
Good luck.
do want to mention, by the way, just for the viewers, in case it wasn't obvious already, when this podcast is coming out, CubedCon would have finished for this year. When we say it's still up for the rest of the week, we are speaking from the time of recording it. When we say it ends on Sunday, we mean the Sunday up just before this podcast came out. However, next October, if you are interested in this convention, and I will most likely still be interested. I mean, I will still be interested in this convention. If you follow like the podcast or anything, or even just my main, because that's where I tweeted it the most. Who knows? InsideMC might have a booth, or it might have a stage. It depends, because I'm always really wary about stages. Because I mean, firstly, I have to be accepted. I'm talking on behalf of just assuming you guys go, yeah, you can get a stage.
Yeah.
But I'm also really wary about stages. I always have been, like, doing live performances, because like I don't want to do one unless the podcast is in a place where people are going to be there and listen, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to. It's not. This isn't directed at anyone at all, because everyone's stages were amazing. I think I listened to the KMTH, I believe their name is. Their Q&A.
KTMH, yeah.
I was there for their Q&A and stuff. But like, I'm always just in my own head. It's even with live streams now. I just don't want to do like a live podcast unless I know people are going to be there. It's like how people won't release merch unless they know people are going to buy. Like,
yeah, no, I'm the exact same way. I that's something I've struggled with, like doing streams on the side. And like, my advice is to just like give it a shot. If you have a clear indication that people are interested and they will be there, just give it a shot, because if you don't know, like, if you don't try, you won't know. And the payout could be huge. Like, I can relate to it as well, because this I think it was April, I did a charity stream, and I've been too scared to do a charity stream for a long time, because I'm scared I'll do it and I'll hype it up and then no one will actually donate.
Yeah.
But I did it, and we raised over £1,000. So I feel like the payout is huge if you can get over that anxiety of it.
I mean, I did it with
but I mean, you said earlier, like, the Cube YouTube Twitch channel always had 100 views. So I think it's a pretty safe bet to assume that people will turn up and stuff.
I mean, it's not even that. It's more just like my viewership, because right now the podcast is on a very good, but like a very steady, but also like a big increase. Like, every single month I'm seeing more subscribers, I'm seeing more watch time, I'm seeing more viewership. Like, it's constantly going up, which is really, really cool to see. But I just want to, I'd like to be in a place next year with the podcast where like it's not more the worry of people showing up. It's more like, I just want to be in a place where it's a good enough time, wherever it be next CubedCon or wherever it be in 3 years, and like the perfect point where I will bring a big amount of traction to the event. And I know that's like not always what you care about, and I mean, like, because you let people, same way I bring people on the podcast who I find interesting, who I think would be good guests. It's more just along the lines of it, just for myself personally, I would love to be able to just do a panel at the perfect time where I'd bring a crap ton of like traction towards the event, and at a time where I'm ready to do it.
That's very nice of you. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I think it's just worth a go, because even if you don't get accepted for any kind of reason, like, at least you still tried. That's my personal advice. Just give it a shot, because I feel like the payoff is huge, and if you don't do it, you won't know how big the payoff will be at all.
Exactly. I mean, I'm gonna apply for a booth. The booths are quite cool. I think I am gonna try to get one. Obviously this year it was way too late. I found out a week before the bloody event.
Yeah.
But I'd like to get one for like InsideMC, because I mean, it worked for, like, for instance, the Withering effect. Like, I've talked about them multiple times on this podcast, and I had no clue that podcast existed until CubedCon.
Yeah, same here.
Exactly. So it's all about finding stuff and all that kind of jazz, and that's why CubedCon is so cool, because you could TP to the booths as well. Like, I walked around a little bit, but in the end I was like, I want to visit every single booth and I don't want to miss any. In the end I just started TPing to them, so I made sure not to miss a booth, because like in real life it's a bit easier to track, whereas in Minecraft I don't know, I just find it a bit harder to track like the booths. Yeah, so I ended up just TPing to them in the end, but still got to experience it the same way. I found out about like a Club Penguin server. I obviously around at like called Bear Build. They had a booth just about build a bear, which is cool.
I saw that.
All that kind of jazz. So.
Yeah, that's another like thing I love about the event is that it's a great place to promote yourself, and there was a lot of that like this year, and it's all part of like the community building, like so many people coming together, and then so many people mixing and getting to know each other, and that's part of why I love it.
Such a good community as well.
Thank you.
Something that, so we're going to move into questions that you might not be too, this is out of your area of marketing, so I'm not sure if you're going to be able to answer any of these, but I'm going to ask them anyways, we'll see. The first one is going to be about the guests. So that whole system to me was a bit, I find it a bit confusing. For instance, so I was there for, I'm not going to say for who, but I was like there watching one of the meet and greets because I was kind of just curious to see how it worked. Essentially, people were queuing up and they were having their conversation in game chat. Is it not possible to maybe one day like do it as like a stage call where like you have a Discord stage call for a meet and greet and people are in the stage call, and when it's their turn to talk, they raise their hand and get accepted? Or like, once again, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to answer how this because it's not your area, but like how comes it was in the format it was in of like walking up, typing in chat, taking a screenshot and kind of leaving? Why was it like that? That's
a really good question. I've never actually thought about it that way. I wasn't in charge of the meet and greets, but I'll do my best to kind of answer. My guess as to why it's set up like that is because first of all you get a screenshot, but second of all we can't really moderate what people say in a voice channel. Like if a special guest comes on and then someone queues up to meet them, they could say whatever they want and we can't really do anything except server mute them when it's already too late. Yeah. So whereas in game like, you've got the chat and we have a chat like filter that we can deal with, and we can filter out things before they even get sent to anyone.
Isn't that also just a bit like in person, for instance? Like you're like, not saying I'd ever want to, but I could go to TwitchCon, go to a meet and greet, walk up to the person doing the meet and greet and just punch them. Like you can't stop me until it's too late. And I guess obviously you can turn around and be like, but it's in Minecraft for a reason, so we can moderate it. But like still, I mean, because I can tell you tried to make it as realistic as possible. I could see that, and it's true. But is this just a case of you just want to make sure it's a bit more moderated?
Yeah, I guess so. It's all like Cubed itself is completely family friendly, so we want to make sure that everything is as family friendly as possible. And during the event, our moderators have so much things to do, so many like things to go around and moderate and take care of. So I would imagine that it was done so that people like moderators have less things to worry about, and it's just easier for everyone involved. Like some people might want to have their mic set up and it's all timed so that everyone has the same amount of time with each other.
So
I guess it's
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I believe so. Don't stop me on that, but I believe that you get a certain amount of time. And so like if someone's trying to fix their mic the whole time and then the time's up, it's kind of sucks, right? So I think it's just keeping it simple and keeping it in Minecraft, because I believe the system for meet and greets is all like automated through like some kind of plugin, and adding Discord to that would make it a lot more difficult because you'd have to link your Discord to your Minecraft account, and then that's immediately like way more difficult for most people because they might have to like click a link and then link their Discord, and then it's a whole thing.
Just a quick question that you'll probably have a quick answer to is how exactly does the whole chat thing work then? Because say there's two meet and greets going on at the same time, is it like are the chats like limited to each person? Because I could see the meet and greet chats. I wasn't in the line, I was standing like in the corner, but I could see like the entire conversation, which wasn't a bad thing. But like, say like there's two meet and greets going on at the same time, how exactly does that kind of work?
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually don't have an answer because I never actually got to go to any of the meet and greets at all. I didn't have time for it. But it's okay. We do have the functionality for chat bubbles where you walk into a certain area and then your chat is exclusively with people that are in that area.
That answers the question pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know if we used it for meet and greets though, so that would be a good shout for next year.
I think you did. Use it. I think you used it for like the area of meet and greets, but not the specific. Because I mean, like I just didn't know it was all automated. I thought mods were just TPing people, and that's quite cool. That whole AI thing. Not AI, like the
I could be wrong. I wasn't there, so I can't like guarantee that it was set up like that. But I believe the way it was supposed to work is that there's a thing that moderators do, and it's all kind of automated.
Right. Okay, from watching it does, because I kind of just watched it for the sake of the podcast, to learn.
Yeah, cool.
Well, apart from Insane Orbits wanting to spark out Twitch streamers,
My bad.
I was gonna. No, I liked it. I was gonna ask: is it something that in the event you're constantly thinking about? What can we do to improve this? Is it a thing where it's like, okay, we'll put this to next year, or we want to do it now, and so on?
That's a great question. We're actually already on that. Immediately after the event ended, we made a thread in our staff Discord channel, and we're already kind of like everyone involved is talking about what works this year and what can we move forward to next year. What didn't work and what should we leave this year, like leave behind, and what still needs work. And there are so many things that we've kind of picked out and said, okay, this worked, this didn't work, and maybe it needs some work, and then this didn't work, and we need to throw it out and not do it again and just rework it. We're already on top of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, just constant innovation and so on.
Exactly, and that's something I like to do myself as well. I like to just iterate and learn over time. You can see it in the social posts if you look over the previous years. They've kind of changed format here and there.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we used to use 16:9 graphics just because there was more space. But this year we use square graphics because we're on Instagram as well, and square graphics work better on Instagram and Twitter because they take up more screen real estate.
Yes, I say add on to that, it's actually just a completely different topic, and unless you have anything else to mention about that, Nath or AJX, any questions?
No, that's pretty much it.
No.
So once again, another area that you might not be able to answer to the fullest, but I just wanted to ask it anyways. How, like I touched on earlier about having a booth and having a panel. Once again, I mean, I'm just saying this. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, by the way. Like, lads, for the viewer, it hasn't happened, and I won't even be able to apply to next year. And who knows, I might not even apply, so I might be busy or whatever. But if you do have an idea of it, how exactly were people chosen for a panel or for a booth? Like, what
yeah,
was
that's a good question.
Kind of, not even criteria, just like what made you say, okay, you can, but not you. Or not you, but like the person who was choosing.
So I wasn't directly in charge of this, so I can't say for sure. Like, I can't give an exact source. But my understanding is that the point of the guests and the panels and all of that was that we want it to benefit as many people as we can in the Minecraft community as a whole. We want to make sure that, everyone that comes on can provide value instead of, just plugging themselves or just like not really having any concise kind of thing that's going on. For example, a lot of people that came on this year, they had like complete presentations all set up and ready to go. And that's something we're really happy with and we want to kind of encourage for next year. Whereas I'm not going to name names, and to be honest, I wouldn't be able to remember them anyway. But we did have a few applications where it was just people trying to plug themselves, and it's for their own benefit, and that's exactly what we want to avoid. Because again, Cubed is for everyone, and we want to make sure that the panels and everything like that benefits everyone instead of just not themselves.
Yeah,
that's
definitely that's the best thing to do, I think.
I mean,
and you'll see, like, if you look over the panels that we've had this year, a lot of them are very like educational. One of my favorites was there was a panel about filmmaking in Minecraft where
I saw that. A
couple people came on and they've made like full-on videos and movies or adaptations of them in Minecraft through replay mod, and they talk about how they use replay mod, they talk about composition, they talk about cinematography, and how they apply all of that to Minecraft. And that's knowledge that I would imagine like 90% of people at least had no idea about. So that's a perfect example of like things we want to encourage and things we want to see. Like, what can you teach the Minecraft community as a whole? What value can you provide to everyone?
Yeah, what are you bringing to the convention?
Exactly.
I mean, they're getting so much free promotion in this podcast, but it's just the perfect example. It's the withering effect once again. Like, for instance, their panel was talking about the Minecraft mob vote. Like, that was beneficial to him. Like, it wasn't beneficial per se, but it made sense. Like, it was talking about, rather than just talking about themselves or promoting their podcast, they were talking about the Minecraft mob vote. They were talking about all this other stuff. Like,
exactly, it's relevant.
Which, I mean,
it's relevant, and it's something everyone can kind of hop in and join the conversation on.
Which, with a little bit of promotion, is that's going to be next week's podcast. By the way, for anyone listening to this, next week's podcast will be about Minecraft Live and the Minecraft mob vote. Won't be with AJX or Nath, sadly, but it still hopefully will be a good podcast. I mean, but it'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots to talk about. I've actually not had a proper look at the Minecraft mob vote. I've just not had time for it.
Just been too busy with Cubed. I mean, which is understandable.
Exactly.
You've been very busy with Cubed. That's not even a joke.
Exactly.
Like you have been,
I've been extremely busy, and there's so many moving parts that I've tried to help out with. Things that I've had to really kind of rush, like the trailer, I wasn't able to do because the map wasn't ready until like a few days before, and then I had a tiny little gap between the map being ready and then the event itself to actually get the trailer like filmed, edited, timed, animated, all published. So that was a big kind of like crunch moment for me, but it's fine. It's something I volunteered to do myself. Like, it wasn't assigned to me. It wasn't like, Nath, do the trailer right now. It was more like, oh yeah, sure, I'll step in and help with the trailer. It's something we all do for fun, and like there's no kind of crunch crunch. There's no kind of like there is stress, but there's no like you have to do that right now. You know, it's all very casual and very like collaborative. People are all here for each other.
It's it's just it's so cool to hear it as well. Like yes, and that's why I asked you to come on, or I asked Paul to come on, and then I said to Paul like, please, I want someone on the podcast, and fortunate enough they turned to you, which once again I am so grateful for you coming on. By the way, it's so
Thank
much.
you. No, that's fun.
It's so much better being able to talk to you about CubedCon than just that kind of AJX and I waffling away about it, because obviously we still do good takes on it, but it's nice hearing it from you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here.
It's a really cool convention.
Thank you. Thank you for having me as well. Like I said earlier, but it's great to provide some transparency into all the moving parts behind Cubed, behind the scenes, because like if you just watch the stream or if you just join the Minecraft server, you don't really see most of it.
We get to hear we haven't touched on every aspect, but that's because there's so much to touch on. If
there's
we were
so many.
touch on every aspect, it'd be a 6-7 hour podcast, and I am not editing that. No. Especially not by next Wednesday. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck.
But this has been an alright podcast. It's been moderate. Let's say alright. It's been a great podcast, but you get what I mean. Like it's been moderate amount of time when I get jazz, and we've touched on absolutely everything.
Yeah, it's a lot to talk about.
With that though, I don't know if I have many more questions really, because obviously a lot of it is like we've kind of touched on the marketing and everything, which is your area of expertise. We have touched on other stuff as well, but it's not all stuff you can fully answer. Unless you have anything that we haven't brought up that you think could be cool to talk about.
I have a couple questions for you guys.
Oh shoot.
I'm curious as to like. This has never happened to you on a podcast before, ever?
No one has ever asked me a question. I think I've been asked a question, but no one's ever flipped the stage. I've been actually waiting for this day to happen, so this is perfect.
Yeah, I was surprised that happened.
Come on, please.
So I wanted to, as someone who like is very public facing and is kind of on the front lines for working with the community and working for the guests and stuff like that, I always like to listen and see what people think. So I'd like to know, what do you guys like about Cubed? What were your favorite parts?
Do you want to go first, AJX, or should I?
You go first, Kate.
So I like, the thing is, mine is so general. Like I don't really have like this was amazing. Like I don't have like a favorite part as in like this is what stood out to me. I think it was just cool. Like I mean, obviously the Nox. Oh god, why do I keep forgetting the second part? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's the Nox Squad game show.
Nox Squad game show. I said it earlier. I said it earlier in the podcast. I remembered it. Now all of a sudden I just forget. The Nox Squad game mode was also really cool. I think partially also because Piggles was in it, and I know Piggles, and they've been on the podcast as well. I like the idea of just like I like the idea of it being a convention inside Minecraft. Like it's also just partially funny to say because the podcast is called Inside Minecraft. But like
literally.
Like I just what I was thinking as well.
I just like the whole concept of like I can walk around, I can visit booths, like it's cross-platform, so like both Bedrock and Java get the chance to experience it. I enjoyed the boat racing a lot. It was a cool aspect. I mean, I didn't do any of the racing because they were like 30 minutes in between, which is I feel like was a bit of a long time. But like I kind of understood it for the whole like people trying to leaderboard grind. It was a bit easier, it being 30 minutes. But like I just enjoyed the whole concept of being able to visit booths. I found out like a lot of things. For example, once again, the Withering podcast. Like I found out about them. It's just being able to visit a convention that isn't like, I mean, once again, like you've mentioned, and it's the whole idea of it is if the fact it was convenient to be able to go to the convention from my own home. I was able to sit on my chair. Like I was able to go with Chloe, who like I live as far as I'm aware pretty far away from me. So like being able to go to a convention together because we talk a decent amount was a cool concept. And obviously my girlfriend didn't have work, I would have went with her, and it's just like all that kind of jazz. Yeah, I don't know. I just love the concept. I just love the idea of panels. I mean, it's also it has potential to grow into like a massive event. Like it's already a massive convention, don't get me wrong, but it can always get bigger. Everything can always get bigger, right? And marketing. But it's just pretty much my job is to make sure that Cubed is the biggest event ever, and I think I paid off this year. I think it works. Yeah, exactly. And it's just the idea of being able to give like, I'm not saying I'm gonna name them just because it's not a bad thing, like KTMH for example. Like I'm not saying they're a smaller creator, but they were a guest, they had a meet and greet, they had a panel, they were in the Nox Squad game show. Like they like giving promotion to, in quotation marks, these smaller like the Withering Effect. They have like 200 subscribers for example. Like you didn't turn them away you didn't turn them away from having their own panel because they had 200 subscribers. You let them have a panel because you knew it benefited them and the event. Like it's just a nice concept.
It's the value you bring.
Charity.
Yeah, it's like it's not based on your numbers. It's not based on how famous you are. It's about are you a good fit for us? Are you a good fit for the Minecraft community? And can you provide some value, some knowledge, some insight into things you might not know.
And that's exactly what the podcast is. Like AJX, obviously this isn't an insult. It's not exactly like you're a famous creator, but I still asked you to be the co-host midweek.
The biggest singular MCC creator.
I mean, like for instance, I won't say names for this one, but I bought a lot of when I invite people on the podcast. Would it be announced? It would have been announced by now. For instance, I won't say the name actually. There's someone I invited on the podcast who will be announced on Friday, the last Friday. I won't say because I don't want to leak it to you, Nath. Not that you'd care too much, but you know what I mean. But for instance, my message to them was I bring on people who I find interesting. I'm not inviting them because they have a lot of subscribers or a lot of followers. I'm inviting them on because I think they're an interesting creator. So
yeah, that's what makes it a good podcast.
Exactly. So, and that's what I want. I want to bring people on who I find it interesting, big or small, not just because they're larger creators.
Yeah. So going back to the question of what's your favorite thing about Cube?
Oh yeah, sorry.
did we get an answer for everyone?
I mean, I kind of gave my answer. Yeah, it was just everything really.
Well, I was going to add.
Yeah.
I just like how much you've gone into it. Like adding the hotels. That's such a genius thing. The fact you're constantly making it feel more and more like an actual convention. I love it. I love that sense. And as always said, friends can join up even if it's a distance. It's a genius idea. And when you don't actually have Minecon anymore and stuff like that, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to fill that gap where you can't go to a Minecraft convention, but you still really want that experience. Cubed is exactly that, and that's what we're happy to do. I also just realized we haven't talked about the ARG. Did you guys hear about the ARG by any chance?
The alternate reality, no?
Kind of, yeah. So basically, to announce Cubed back in, I think it was June-ish, we did what's called an ARG, which is basically like a series of puzzles that lead to some kind of prize at the end.
Okay.
A bunch of codes you have to crack if you want to call it that. Long story short, we tweeted a bunch of QR codes from the official Cubed account. You scan it and you get a bunch of screenshots of the convention. And then in the chat, there's a bunch of codes. If you type those codes in, it leads to a Discord server. In the Discord server, there's another clue, then another clue, another clue, another clue. And eventually, if you're the first person to crack the code, you get the first VIP Ultra ticket. That's how we kind of hyped up the announcement for Q 2023, and that was something that I kind of led. So if you want to see what that's about, there was a panel, I think day 2, where they talked about how they cracked all the puzzles and how it all worked. So I highly recommend, if you want a good insight into how much work goes into building the hype for Cubed and how much passion and love we put into it, I think that's a great example.
That's so cool. Awesome. Jeez, I did not know about that.
Yeah, this was months and months and months ago, and it was during the cycle where the hype hasn't really started to build yet. So it was really just a thing for the really dedicated side of the Cube community. And yeah, people actually even during the content drought that is November through to June-ish, people still found it interesting. They still got really invested in it. They still tried really hard to crack the code, and that's just again more proof that the Cube community is something that we're really proud of.
Did you finish your answer, AJX?
No, I just think it's amazing what you guys are doing. And it all being for charity again. I hate to bring it up again, but that's the main thing for me. It's such a inspiring thing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all just a movement for good.
Did you have any other questions, Nath, for us? You said you had a few, or was it just that?
If I had more questions, I've probably forgotten them. There's nothing in my head right now. Well, I guess I could ask what could we change? Was there anything that stood out to you guys that could use improvement?
I think
you could be as honest as you want as well.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is a feature you probably have to have. Sorry, but if you don't, then I'd like it. I don't like how when I walk through different sections, it puts me into a new server. I'm not sure if you have to have that because of Bedrock, but every time I walked into the meeting, or was it because of the chats? I don't know. But every time I walked into the meet and greet stuff, it'd TP me in it. It wasn't a big deal. It didn't really affect me. It's just it's a little thing. I'm nitpicking because I'm sure you'd appreciate
no, that's totally fine. Yeah, no, that's very valid. So the reason why it's like that is because of a thing called server sharding, where essentially the one big Cube server is a whole bunch of smaller servers that all connect together. So when you step over a certain line, you get teleported into a server that is dedicated to the stage. And when you step into the meet and greet, you get teleported into a server that's specifically for the meet and greet. It's all set up like that specifically because if we have one big server that's handling everyone all over the map, there is a massive amount of overhead with like the amount of work the server needs to do. And if we divide them all into smaller separate servers, we get around that, and overall we end up with a lot less lag. Now, it has been like set up in different ways in the past with a thing called ghosting, where like you get assigned to a random server and then you can see everyone, but they're not actually there. They're in a different, like, kind of like a mirror of that server. That's something that is very, like, hit and miss, and it's worked sometimes it doesn't work. And I think due to the unique set of problems that we've had this year, that's just how it kind of played out. There was a lot of, like, last-minute stress and last-minute, like, things that we had to plan, and it was the best we could do this year to ensure, like, there was the least amount of lag possible, and that's just how it kind of played out.
Fair enough. I feel like there's something
it might be different next year. We might have a different setup. It all depends on, what plugins we have available and how our developers kind of, set everything up. There's so many like factors to it.
Yeah, I guess another thing as well is, and I'm not sure if it's because they just didn't pay for signs or whatever, but like a few of the booths, it'd be like, click this sign to go to my YouTube, and when I clicked it, like the link, it just didn't work. Like some of the booths, obviously, when I right clicked them, the link worked, but then people would be like, click this, and then it just didn't work. I'm not sure if that's because they didn't, I think you had to pay for links. I'm not sure if they just didn't pay for it or what, but like, I wouldn't see the point of them saying, click this link, and then it just doesn't take you anywhere. So
yeah, I would imagine that would be an issue with how like the server was set up. You'll notice like the closer you look, there are a lot of like small issues that we kind of deal with every cube. Again, it's another one of those things where in testing it all works fine, but then as soon as you put it onto the actual official main server, things just kind of don't work, and that's just something out of our control, but we try our best to kind of curb.
Yeah.
And I would imagine those people did pay for the signs. It's just that we weren't able to get them fixed, but I'm sure we did eventually fix them. I just can't say for sure. It's something completely out of my control.
And I was there Saturday morning, 10 a.m, so I was still pretty early into the event.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee our developers were fast asleep at that point.
I also there wasn't a schedule for Sunday on the website.
Yes, so the reason for that is because the schedule was still kind of moving around, and I was in charge of the schedule, so I'll take the blame for that one. The reason being is because primarily we focused on using Discord's events feature this year.
That's what
mainly because it plays it like it's in a central place where people already are, and the times on it synchronized to everyone. So like we don't have to worry about time zones and time conversions and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reason for that is because things were still moving around, and I made the graphic from scratch. Like all the lines, all the boxes were things I'm making in Figma, and it was very difficult to like move things around and slot a new panel in if there was a new panel. But that's actually something I've already noted. Like we would like the schedule to be finalized and set in stone a little bit earlier, so we have more time to get the schedule graphics ready, get them on the website, get them on Discord. That's something we're already working on improving for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very nitpicking because I can't think of anything major that I didn't like at all. So it was all
no, that's totally fine.
Little nitpicks, but it's just little things that just quality of life changes, I guess, if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. But we want to hear like all the problems, whether they're big or whether they're small, just so we can plan around them and make next year's the best we can.
Because of course you want to make the event as close to realistic as you can, right? So I guess my suggestion for that is, for instance, with the whole schedule thing, like you don't really see the likes of TwitchCon changing the schedule last minute, Which I know once again you can turn, like it's completely reasonable to turn around and be like, yeah, but it's a Minecraft convention, because it is, like that is reasonable, but it's also just a case of I'm sure you guys want to make it as realistic as you can,
Yeah, of course. I completely agree, and I think the main reason is because there are so many moving parts with like. This year we had a physical stream setup we had to work out and plan. And that meant that if it took too long to set up a PC, then everything else got pushed back, and then we had to make the entire graphic again. Like, there are so many moving parts, and a lot of them are out of our control. If we run into tech issues, we can't do the panel at the same time, so we have to push it back, and then, we now have to update the graphic, and then update the internal, like, thing where it shows what events happening in game. Like, it's all very multi-level, and there's a lot to it. But yeah, that is a very, very valid criticism, and it's something we definitely want to fix.
Yeah, I feel like there's also something else I had, but if it comes back to me, I can always just message you anyways. I hope anyways, you're not just going to remove me once the podcast.
No, of course not.
I've
got loads of people on Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have so many people added on Discord, and I don't even know half of them, so it's fine.
Any criticisms from yourself, AJX? Or?
No. I think you did it justice there.
Also, player collision for the parkour.
Oh yeah.
Yes, turn that off, please, if you can.
Is this specifically the parkour in the middle of the venue where you have that knockback stick?
No. In like the actual parkour, that if you complete it, there was $5 donated to charity.
Oh yeah, that was part of Russ's booth. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know Minecraft that well, so I don't know if that's something we can fix due to
if you
the
can,
nature
it's
of the
just a
server and stuff.
anyways.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's a good point.
But it's just, every time I went to make a jump, like someone would jump up and push me up, and I'm just like,
yeah, no, that would annoy me too. Don't worry, I totally see that.
But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything now. Unless there's once again any other questions or anything else you wanted to talk about, I think we've covered pretty much everything to promote CubedCon as much as we can here. Yeah,
no, I think that's pretty much it. Other than that, just thanks for having me and thank you for taking such a big interest in Cubed.
I instantly got hooked on it. I said I'm not sure if you remember AJX, but I messaged you and I was just like, CubedCon is this weekend. We're recording with Nath on Saturday. We're recording with somebody from CubedCon on Wednesday. Like, I'm going to make sure we get someone on from CubedCon.
Yeah, I did.
I ended up getting you on, Nath. So I'm so happy. I'm sure anyone would have been amazing, but I am glad we got to talk to you because you're a good speaker. You're confident. That's all I can jazz. Like, it was a really nice podcast.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm kind of like the front lines. I respond to all the tweets and I'm always in the Discord trying to do things. Like, I was the guy that was responsible for pinging hundreds of people multiple times. So just gonna out myself for that.
And you retweeted the podcast on the Twitter account. Let's go.
Yeah, on my main as well, my personal.
Exactly. I wasn't even expecting that, in all honesty. So I'm grateful for that too. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's just part of like the trying to make connections happen.
Yeah, exactly. I guess then. Before we wrap up the podcast, Nath, before I do the outro, I would like myself and AJX would like to give you this opportunity to promote yourself. Like, you can do both yourself and CubedCon, anything obviously within reason, please. But like promote anything regarding you or CubedCon. Like, where can we find both? Where can we, like what else? If there's anything to expect from CubedCon next year, if there's anything big that you'd like to hint at, all that kind of jazz, everything you can kind of be wrapped into one part here.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we don't have any concrete plans for Cube next year because we are working on some bits, but we haven't made any solid plans yet, especially in terms of date or what it's going to look like. But you can find us all year round at cubedcon.com. And I think we're Cubed Convention on all socials. I think it's CubeCon on Twitter and then Cube Convention on Instagram. And on Facebook, it doesn't matter because you can just pick any name. But yeah, that's Cubed. And then me personally, I am Nath. My username on everything is This Isn't Nath. I know it's confusing. But yeah, I'm most active on Twitter. So if you want to get hold of me or see what I'm up to, just check my Twitter. And then that will have links to everything else.
There we go. And then awesome. when does the charity, the donations stop?
That's a good point. So I believe the final day when everything wraps up, when the server closes and the donation is like starting to be counted, is Sunday. So Sunday the thing closes. So I guess it'll be out by then. Yeah, the event closes Sunday, and then we'll start counting the total amount raised from then on, and hopefully we'll have it as soon as we can.
We'll keep an eye out for the CubedCon Twitter then. Do you guys tweet all year round, or is it only when CubedCon's about, or like hyping up the event?
We try to, but we've found that if we tweet too much, like during that long period where we have no actual content to talk about, and it's just filler, then people don't really respond to it very well. So we often usually just go pretty much radio silent during that half year or so of just total radio silence. And that's again mainly just because we want to keep our followers and not post anything too irrelevant. And honestly, it's just hard to come up with things to talk about when there's no Cube date, there's no Cube trailer, there's no Cubed announcements, there's no guests, there's no maps. It's just hard to come up with anything. So yeah, there's just not really much point tweeting until we have things to talk about.
Well, lads, set a mark in your calendar for September 2024 because at that point there should start being hype for CubedCon 2024, assuming it's in October again. So just so you don't forget about it, do it now, right now, pick your phone up right now, set a calendar or whatever you can. CubedCon, just set it for the 1st of September. Check the CubedCon Twitter, okay? Do that.
Yeah.
Or follow them.
I'd also recommend checking the Discord. We'll probably ping everyone when Cube 2024 is announced. So join the Discord. I think it's just discord.gg/CubeCon, I think.
You can find that on the CubedCon website, which if I remember...
Yeah, it'll all be on the website.
But if not, then just search up CubedCon on Google and you'll find it. So.
Exactly. That's the best way to find us.
Yeah, I think we've covered everything. This has been an amazing podcast. Thank you so much. Once, I know we've been hyping you up. We've been your little hype men this entire podcast. But thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
For coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor.
And thank you as always, AJX, for being an amazing co-host as per usual.
Thank you for being an amazing host. Insane.
This has been MidweekMC. Everything you need to know about the convention inside Minecraft. Thank you all for watching. Stay safe. Don't eat too much bread. Pieces.